right, hello and welcome. How are you doing on what I hope is a fantastic January the 6th? We are in 2025. My goodness. How's your New Year's?
So far, so good, Matthew. How's yours?
It was good. We did miss our our Babylon 5 stream last week. Sorry about that, everyone. But there was actually like a good reason this time. Uh so Amy's dad had heart surgery about 3 weeks back now. Y'all remember this? Like he had the heart attack, and they're like, "Oh, you can walk in, stop being a baby about this," and then they wanted to wait until March, like 6 months later, to do the surgery. And so
That's
they,
crazy.
oh, it was so crazy, but they got to see his heart doctor, which I don't know the fancy name for that. A cardiologist? There we go.
Cardiologist there.
Yeah,
You got it.
it did.
And one.
It's cold outside. My brain is trying to warm up like a car.
Is
So
that
yeah. So he went to see the cardiologist, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? We should probably move this up." We're like, "Yeah, you think?" And, and so he went in, he did the surgery, doing fantastic now. And so Amy went out to see him
terrific?
over New Year's, and thankfully her mom and my mom are in the area ish, and so they were able to come and watch the kids on Monday and Tuesday leading up to New Year's because I got a new job, everyone. Like I'm pretty sure I mentioned this. The week of Christmas I started a new job, and
You
uh,
did.
very thankful for it. It's going well, but as a result, I have like no holiday time. You got to accrue it. And so I was on the clock, and thankful that the moms came and took care of the kids, and thankful that Amy was smart enough to not leave the kids in my care all the time. Um, Something
Don't
about
want to
I
lose
keep
them.
losing kids or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tom's is saying cold is what, 60 for you? Close. It it is. It's actually legitimately cold in Texas right now. It is 30 degrees here.
That's about what it is here.
And last night the wind chill had it down to 17, I think it was. Fahrenheit, obviously. Yeah, I mean if it was Celsius, 30 degrees would not be on the cold side. So definitely Fahrenheit.
Not at all.
Uh but
That'd be
it's
about
nuts.
85.
So the wind here is so bad. It's a Sunday morning. I'm driving into church, and I leave at like 6:20 to go help set up. And when I left, it was 67 degrees. I'm like, I don't need a jacket. We're good. I leave my neighborhood and I turn onto the major highway like 7 minutes from my house, and a wall of wind just slams into my car. And over the next 10 minutes, it dropped 15 degrees.
Ooh.
And the whole day was just nonstop wind, to the point that my mom was supposed to fly back in from my nephew's wedding, and the flight was canceled. DFW airport shut down last night.
Wow.
And uh and so my mom, actually, she's not going to get back until Tuesday. Like, they didn't just delay her by a day, they delayed her 2 days on getting home.
Well, better get in on Tuesday because I hear you may get snow on Thursday.
Right? Like, if she doesn't
Yeah.
get in, like, she may be stuck even longer. Now, unfortunately, I mean, my brother's up there. She was up there for a family wedding, so it's not like she's having to stay up in a hotel room somewhere. But it's just crazy that, uh, like, there is a lot. Once you cancel an entire flight, you think you'd bring in a second airplane or something, but I guess they're so tight on the schedules for all their aircraft that they don't have a spare plane to just kind of bounce around.
It's kind of scary, actually.
Right?
You'd think
And
they would have some spares.
they can't spare a square. So yeah, just they have to fit them in on whatever slots are open. I guess they make the standby people stand by longer.
Well, I guess that's the risk you take, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely guessing at this point, but it just to think that you can't get a single displaced plane flight to its intended destination for 2 days. I know. Oh, that's a lot. And yeah,
They
Texas,
probably
exactly.
they
An
probably have a
airplane
lot of
that's just
people
sitting there isn't.
traveling back from the holidays too. So
Yeah.
there's probably more people flying.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, an airplane just sitting there is an airplane that's losing money, 100%.
You're right, Texas.
And yeah, 58 in Florida, you Floridians. See,
Where's John?
I'd be jealous, except you have like this Faustian deal with the devil in Florida. You get phenomenal weather in the wintertime, but you have to deal with hurricanes. And so I, I'm not there, you know. I'd rather deal with tornadoes than hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tornadoes, they affect such a small area usually.
Yeah. And
Hurricanes, you've got
honestly,
hundreds of miles
and the
that are
flooding
affected.
that goes with it.
Oh yeah.
I mean that was a rough thing. My several years back when Houston got hit, my brother was hit hard where the hurricane like passed by them by a good deal, but the it dropped so much rain and the sea swell that came up with it, like they had their neighbors actually staying with them because their house was flooded and my brother had a two-story house. And so the entire second story was filled with their neighbors uh, so that they could stay dry and actually sleep because like there were enough like it's one of those weird things where there wasn't enough rescue vehicles. It wasn't just people being foolish and not evacuating in time.
Those things can be tricky, that's for sure.
It's you know what I was thinking about this today because of course I was. Um, I was trying to figure out like what's more deadly, the cold or the heat.
I would say the cold.
So I ultimately thought it probably depends on your latitude. Like here in Texas, the heat's a lot more deadly. But up in Ohio, even maybe the cold's more deadly. So I really got thinking like I wonder what the latitude differentiation line is between uh the cold being more deadly versus the heat being more deadly. Like at what point do you go, well, once you're above this parallel, boom.
But statistically, I've seen this. The cold is more deadly than heat.
Hmm. But is it
Because
just
if you're caught,
population densities?
well, I'm not sure about that. That's a good question. I mean, you can do so much with statistics and make it
Oh
turn out the
yeah.
way you want it to. So,
What's the old saying? There's three type of lies. Uh lies, dirty lies, and statistical lies.
uh, Melphis says both.
See, so I that's what I was kind of thinking that it ultimately depends on where you are. Cuz where I am, we don't have too many deaths for the winter time. But we get a lot of deaths come well, I shouldn't say a lot. We get statistically more deaths in the summertime.
And that makes sense. There's a lot more heat here
Yeah.
than cold.
These days it's lies, dirty lies, and fact checking lies. Yeah. There's truth there, Texas.
Omni says it's a three-edged sword.
Very true. And honestly, and you know, I think like there's got to be a parallel where it flips, but then you have places like Britain where the Gulf Stream that pushes the the water, the warm water up onto the Isle of Britain that makes it even habitable messes that up, you know?
Hmm. Thomas says statistics show Thomas does more Z's the longer the delay.
Well, I'm curious about these things, Thomas. Like, I mean, Britain's one of those crazy
Well,
things where the island should be covered in snow all the time, but because you got that hot water being pushed up, it makes it livable.
yeah.
Foggy, but livable.
Oh, you know what Thomas would say? There used to be a stream that you could talk about these things on.
I, I wonder what it'd almost be like a stream where, I can envision people sitting around and drinking together as if they're at some sort of pub,
Pub?
an online brewery sort of thing.
Wow, what a concept.
Yeah,
Was there ever such a thing?
maybe an artificial ale house. What a unique idea that would have been.
A virtual one at that.
Oh, that's a good word, virtual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and talk some Babylon 5 stuff.
We
Yeah,
could.
a virtual nightclub. I think you're on the right track there, Thomas. So last week we watched no, it wasn't last week, excuse me.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. It was in the shadow of Zahadum.
Zahadum. Yes.
And thanks to Jeff being gracious with me and reminding me of of where Zahadum was located, I was able to change my guess, which would have been completely incorrect. But once he reminded me, hey Matt, Zahadum is not the planet that Babylon 5 is next to. That's P something 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 something. Uh,
Epsilon 3.
Epsilon 3. No P's, no somethings. Epsilon 3. Instead, Zahadum was the planet that we've heard Jakar talking about in his little book. It's a
Yes.
little extremely important religious book. And because of that, I was like, oh yes, and changed my guess and was pretty close, as I recall.
You were. You did well with your second guess.
Well, yeah.
Thomas says I cheated.
Well, he gave me a bit of a mulligan. I wouldn't call it a cheat. Sometimes guesses are so wrong. It's like, you know what? I gotta have pity on the man, and I appreciated that. But yeah, the great machine of P something 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 something. So this week is knives, and I don't suppose you have my guess for that written down.
I actually do. You said this would
Ooh.
be a Garibaldi-centric episode. He has to do an investigation. Kind of takes the tone of the DS9 Esri-centric episode, Field of Fire, where she had to find a killer. So Garibaldi has to find a killer on the station.
I think that's a good guess. And yeah, Omni's saying that
Well,
next
could
week's
be.
is forks.
I don't think so.
Maybe cutlery. And hey, Shy, how you doing? Saying that you learned how to make identity crisis chicken today. What is identity crisis chicken? Did you have the identity crisis? Like, is your identity crisis that you turned out to be so good at it? You're like, whoa, maybe I should be a chef? Or is it the chicken that had the identity crisis? Is it actually pork? Did you make pork today?
I didn't.
Like, that seems like something I'd do. I'd make a dish called identity crisis chicken, and it would be bacon. or pork chops. That'd probably be better, pork chops.
Thomas, I had the same idea this afternoon. Paramount did it again to Babylon 5.
What did they do?
They stole another idea.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The Esri episode.
The Esri episode, yes.
Yes.
Well, what do you say we go ahead and pull this up here and let's see if this is a blatant ripoff or not. Let me go ahead and pin. Yep. let me go ahead and pin that, Melphasis. This is the link to the screening room. So as always, come on and join us if you can. This will sync up all of our watch times so that if I am ever on topic and not being oh so easily distracted, you know what it is I'm talking about. If, however, you can't join us in the screening room, which is only active right now during this stream, you're going to need to have your own copy that you can watch it on. If you have Amazon Prime, then you can watch it for free, just the cost of your membership, without ads. Tubi TV, you can watch it for free with ads. And I want to say there's a third place now that's streaming it, isn't it?
Roku channel streaming it.
Roku channel
for free with ads.
And then obviously the best choice, as Jeff just showed, physical media. Physical media will always be king. You never have to worry about, does it come with my membership? You never have to worry about how long are they going to have rights to stream it. You just got it. You can't beat it. And Amazon usually has it on sale for, $80-ish, give or take.
Yeah.
So it's...
I didn't check the current pricing.
It floats around in that area.
Yeah.
If you're patient enough, it gets down to the low 70s. I think it was down at 60 over Black Friday. So, I mean, keep your eyes open. You can find it for a real good deal, and it's worth it. It's Blu-ray. Quality is great. I hate to be a shill, but, I mean, come on, guys. Physical media.
Currently $78.99 on Amazon.
There you go. For all 5 seasons, but not the movies.
Not the movies, except for the pilot episode, The Gathering. That is in the set.
And now the movies, did they ever remaster those?
No, they have not.
Okay,
they're available on DVD. I don't know if they're on Amazon Prime or not.
I'm not sure, but hey, go on eBay. Maybe you can find some VHS tapes.
Ooh. Omni, did they have them on Laserdisc?
Yeah, there you go. Like, honestly, if you can't get the DVDs, I mean, Laserdisc is probably going to be the highest quality of those those movies.
Now, one movie is available on Blu-ray, also on 4K Blu-ray, and that's the latest one from last year? No, a year and a half ago, actually. The animated film.
Oh, okay.
The Road Home.
Which, no spoilers, guys. I definitely know nothing about that one. I am watching this for the first time live with y'all every single week. That's why my guess is it's not like me going, hey, I wonder what this episode is about. I can't remember. I have no idea. This is my reactions live for the first time with y'all, and I enjoy doing it. So, and of course, also we have the clips. Once every 7 seconds or so, there's just a still image, no video. Should be no audio, but I've already had to fix at least one audio problem tonight. So,
ooh. Now he did that before he joined on StreamYard, so I did not know of that.
Yeah, it just Windows being silly decided I didn't have a microphone anymore. Frankly, I'm glad OBS is working. That it kept my settings from last time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did phrase that suspiciously. It's what I do, Shy.
The TV guide listing for this is Ivanova awakens during the night, finding knives stabbed into the walls of recorders, each with a note, "Death to the deceiver," with the security system showing no one having entered. Keffer demands an intervention with the writers for purposely being written out of scripts. Head writer, J. Michael Straczynski.
Now, if y'all don't know, these TV guide listings are done by Brainy Specs over here. Each week he comes up with what I feel is a blend of my guess for the week and the actual contents of the episode. And he does it fantastically well.
I don't know about that. I don't know about the blending part. I've already written for next week, so.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yes. So I have no idea what your guess is for the next episode.
Wow. I honestly thought several weeks. I'm like, oh, he's poking fun at my guess. That's really well done. So I guess it's just that great minds think alike in terms of what would a generic guess for this episode be. All right then. Yeah, Kiefer is influential. Yeah, if it weren't for him, there would have been even more carnage a couple weeks back when all the ships showed up. Now for a word from our sponsors. That's what it was.
An hour for a word, indeed.
So let's go ahead and jump in. If you're watching this at some point in the future, I'll give a quick 3 countdown, and then you can hit that play button when I say go. That's what I say. I forget. But that way, hopefully, you're about in the same spot I am. So here we are. 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button, everyone. Yeah, I don't say go. I say hit the play button. Can't even remember what I say. DS9 stealing the baseball.
Hey, Paramount does it again.
But it is interesting being in the center of Babylon 5. This would be the area with the weakest gravity.
And the space station spins, so that would have a unique path for the ball.
Like, I honestly wonder if they're going to discuss that or if they just kind of treat it all um, as if it's artificial gravity. But it would be very funny if you hit a home run and it just kind of got stuck there. Or really had a hang time, where it kind of floated a little extra bit because gravity got a little too weak. They're certainly hitting a lot of foul balls, though.
Sounds like it.
And Omni's saying that gravity is very micro in the center of the station. They're still on the edges, but they're in that hollow center bit.
I like the captain's cap. That's from his ship, the Agamemnon.
I like how he distracted Garibaldi, so he struck out.
Yes.
Okay, so Londo is and Veer
Beer.
are are debating about who the greatest opera singer is. And Londo, another thing that Worf stole, he's an opera singer. You know what? Worf sang it on TNG first, I guess. Was it Milota? Molota? Yeah, that's it, Thomas.
Lota.
And so this mysterious person comes up behind him and says, "How fitting that you should die with a song on your lips, Molari." Maybe he has a knife on him.
Well,
Now, I do
supposedly we
like.
already know how Londo dies. So is this a fake out or does something just stop the assassination?
True. Or my speaking of audio problems, my balance is off between you and Babylon 5.
Ah, imagine that. Audio issues on a Matthew stream.
It's weird. So weird. Oh, it's
How peculiar.
well, we're just gonna have to live with that. Sorry, it randomly decided to put my audio for the show on a different channel, so I can't control it easily. But it'll be fine. Yeah, Texas, which of Londo's myriad of enemies could this be?
Yes, I'm unbalanced, Thomas.
Now, I do think I do like seeing Londo getting along with Fear so much. They
Yes,
had a really great moment a couple weeks back.
they did.
And it was a fake out. He wasn't going to
It
kill him.
was.
So this is Urza Jado. And he's a swordsman. Now it's not as great as the greatest martial art ever created, Ambo Jitsu.
Yes,
Hey
Trek
LDG.
reviewer. The audio changed from Fox to CBS. It changed channels.
And I think most of these have been very good episodes, LDG. In fact, I was finally getting caught up on rewatching these streams because talking with y'all back and forth, half an ear on the what's actually happening. I miss out on some things, and so I was rewatching it. And one, I was amazed by how much I hadn't missed, and how much I actually am able to keep up. But two, they really hold up to multiple watches.
They really do. And you catch more.
Hmm.
Each time you watch it, you'll find something you missed.
Like I remember, I had been complaining on the episode with Rod Sterling. Was that just the last
Ooh.
episode?
Yes.
Okay. So the last episode, the one with Discount Rod Sterling, I had made a general complaint about how it was a little ham-fisted that Garibaldi just so happened to recognize Rod Sterling, and that kicked off the entire plot for the episode. But when I watched it a second time, um,
Ooh.
it was very organically done. Like, not perfectly, but a lot more than I thought it was initially. And I'm pretty sure that guy was trying to pull a Spock and implant his Katra inside JMS. I can get Sheridan.
Dr. Franklin.
So Sheridan's complaining about how it wasn't just shock. I've been attacked by aliens before. This was different. And Garibaldi makes a quip about, well, maybe next time you'll listen when I tell you not to do something. Thomas, it might be a surprise to me, but some people are good at recognizing others. I'm not buying it, Thomas.
Hmm.
Next, you're going to be telling me that people just normally recognize faces of other people. I'm not buying it. I feel like I had a screensaver that looked like that.
They probably used a screensaver for that effect.
You remember it's like a Windows 98, 95 one?
Hmm.
Kind of had a psychedelic look to it.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Either that or you were doing a little too much LDS.
No, no, no. I only hang out with LDG.
Oh, okay. LDG.
But no, I did catch the LDS reference. Yes.
I thought you might.
Yeah, Londo's keeping his drinks in his safe. I like to imagine this isn't just your usual like rot gut whiskey. Like this is the good stuff.
Have
Although
to keep your valuables safe.
I say, although I wouldn't put it past Londo to keep even the rot gut locked away safely. And so he's regaling stories about how um, he too was once in swordsmanship, basically, and how the people in this swordsman group would give their comrades nicknames, and so his was Paso Leotti, something like that. It's an alien made up animal. He said that he fought like a crazed Leotti. And Brevari. I'm not going to get this right. They have a definite Italian sort of flair on everything they're saying.
Well, Centauri were kind of modeled on the Roman Empire, so
Yeah, Texas is saying the same thing. Italian slash Roman influence all around. It's
yeah.
definitely coming in strong in this episode. But no, I mean we talked about this in the past how they kind of did some generic tropes for each of the different races, and so you can see very much the Eastern Japanese sort of uh, stereotypes for the Minbari
The Minbari, yeah.
and the one of the initial main things that Londo expressed regret about for his race is that he wants to see them return to their former glory, that they are an empire on the wane. And they changed it a little bit because in the pilot he talks about how they're like the nursing fish that they attach onto the biggest predator. And Sheridan's he's seeing a pterodactyl monster. It's new. Is it there though? Because he right before this happened, we did see some sort of like imagery scrolling down his eyes. And Thomas is pointing that they dress almost like the French.
Yeah, they kind of
They definitely got an amalgamation of things going on with them. So he says it was here. It attacked me, and Garibaldi he's concerned, but he's also confused. What? Positive saying that Londo is very much like Napoleon. Yeah? How
in some
so?
ways, yeah, I'd agree with you. Positive.
Garibaldi is saying he thinks that maybe the captain was having a nightmare. And he says it happens. I mean, once I saw a whole quartet of something purple wombats doing a show tune in my bathtub because I was pretty drunk at the time though. So we're finding out that the Markeb, that was the alien that uh, did something to Sheridan.
Well, it was
Ret-
dead, or it seemed to be dead down in
is
Gray Sector.
mostly dead.
And then it grabbed Sheridan briefly.
Yeah, but they routinely do things that or have religious ceremonies that uh, cause them to lose control, complete control. And Garibaldi points out, he says, "Yeah, that's true, but they're usually on powerful psychotropics when it happens." And Josh is saying, think of something from an episode of Voyager on the Excelsior when Janeway had to go into Tuvok's mind. Yeah, that was the virus that would be triggered by strong emotional reactions, and you'd see the girl falling off the cliff. Dan Positive is pointing out that Londo's hair does resemble Napoleon's hat.
That's true.
Now, I mean, Londo, Napoleon was a, a pretty good general, all things considered. Like, he came into the army very young and quickly made some very good military victories. But it seems like this guy might be a bit on the opposite side from Mondo. Yeah, it sounds like he's very much on the opposite side of Londo. Very against him. Whoa. So he's pointing out that the Emperor was not for starting up war with the Narn again. And, Londo, he tries to brush it off. Oh, well, the Emperor was wrong about that. And this friend of his is talking about how the Narn never wanted to be in war, that they were forced into it by some shadow faction that put some sniveling puppet emperor on the throne. And he's saying, did he say someone's accusing him of being a traitor to the Republic? Yeah, if these villains get their way, he's going to be disgraced because he's being accused of being a traitor to the Emperor. And and Londo is basically the one who caused this. And so the friend is asking Londo to stand with them. He says, "If all you do is stand with me, I know I can save my house." And it's interesting because by asking Londo to stand with them, he's technically asking Londo to stand against himself. Because Londo has already sided with the very people who are
They're
making problems for
orchestrating
him.
this. Yeah.
And yeah, positive. Napoleon really only lost the one war badly. The others he won fairly easily. And Sheridan should know better than to doubt Ivanova.
Uh-oh.
So again, we see the psychotropic effects kind of kick in, and now he's seeing a ship outside going explodey. And Jeff, Thomas thinks that you're very angry about something.
Um, I'm not sure where they're getting that. It's the bunny cabal coming after me in another way.
Will the persecution on your person ever end, Jeff?
No. Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. So Sheridan is saying that he saw the Icarus explode. Hey, Cinnabon, how you doing?
I don't have any soup, Cinnabon.
And Texas is saying that this episode was supposed to air before the previous one, and that would be interesting because that would make more sense about why he was looking at that information when Garibaldi came in, and also why he was already kind of ramped up to be so unhinged.
JMS did mention that as these episodes were airing on the Usenets.
And poor Cinnabon, he's saying he's so hurt that he can't even spell right now. He
Well, I can't
accused you of
help that you're
slandering.
slattering. I'm not even sure what slattering is.
Ha! Okay, so they just put a fitness tracker on his wrist. Like that's what it is, a high tech, incredible thing that in 1994 we never could have thought of. Uh, but he put it on, and it had the little clasp like a little traditional hospital bracelet.
It's Lord Reefer. See you in about 5 minutes, Cinnabon.
And Londo is reaching out to Reefer
Reefer.
about dropping the resolution of uh, sorry, I'm trying to listen to the repercussions here. Right, so what he's saying is that Londo wanted Reefer to drop the resolution that was going to put his friend on as a traitor. And he said, I can't stop it. I've already accomplished it. It's done. And Londo says, well, I'm going to stand up for him. And
Unaccomplish it.
yeah, unaccomplish it. And Reefer says, well, I'm so sorry to hear you say that because anyone who stands up for him is going to be destroyed along with him. And Londo, go ahead.
Are we officially calling him Reefer?
Isn't that his name?
Reefa.
Reefa.
Lord Reefa.
Lord Reefa. And they're still hitting fouls. They cannot hit straight to save their lives.
Sheridan was hitting some home runs and fair balls the first scene.
But Londo makes an impassioned plea for his friend, even in light uh, of being destroyed along with them. And he says, "Hey, I'm the one who helped you accomplish this. You can't go against me." And Rifa, he dismisses him, but Ver is very proud of Londo for standing up and being moral at this moment. And Garibaldi is catching Sheridan up on the Babylon 4 encounter.
which was in Sector 14.
Yeah, the baseball team should name the Fivers. And so Garibaldi hands over a crystal that has all the data on Babylon 4. And Sheridan's like, wait a minute, I thought you said the Earth Defense Force confiscated all material on it. And he's like, yeah, but I made a copy.
I bet he made a copy of Jack, his aide that betrayed him, because they were supposed to turn all that information over to Earth Force.
So is this kind of a meeting of the traitors as the current government might describe them?
If they knew about it, they probably would say that, I would imagine. Poor Veer, he didn't get to clink his cup.
Yeah. Justice for Veer.
Right? Maybe true, Texas, but I bet Garibaldi did make a copy.
So Londo is revealing that that Rifa promised to drop the resolution after he talked to him. And this makes his friend very mad because no, Rifa's the one who brought this resolution up, and I will not have help from him. And I really enjoyed that as at this revelation, the music they had going on in the background has cut out.
I never picked up on that.
And the kind of the background sound is, well, I mean, every once in a while you hear a little bit, like when they focus on Londo. But by far and large, even the kind of the chatter in the background they had going on has dropped out as if it was just these two. And so the thing he's mad about right now is that Londo has allied himself with Rifa, and he says, well, "How could you do this?" And Londo says that he is destined for greatness, and he's gonna go, but his friend said, "No, you." Even though they're mad at each other, so to speak, he says, "You can't go. I have a gift for you." And he said, "It's a blade I carried at Gorosh, and I meant it as a symbol of our alliance." And Londo says, "Well, in light of such things, I can't accept this." He says, "Well, then accept this." And he stabs a sword into the table, uh, and he challenges him to a duel to save his friends and his family in his honor. When is the murder I said was going to happen? It kind of happened early on when Sheridan got spocked.
Was that a murder?
Seemed like the guy got murderized.
Was he murdered?
He definitely had a blow to the head. And so Sheridan was looking at the the data from Babylon 4. Yeah, never asked that question. Sheridan said, "What do you want?" He sees an image of his mom and dad for a second, and then a bright white light. And unfortunately, he took off his comm badge,
His link.
his link. And so Londo has been forced into a duel to the death. They are both proud knives, and to deny the duel would bring dishonor on their house. And Vader is saying, "This is madness." And Londo says, "So you must learn to embrace the madness." And so it seems that Sheridan is taking the captain's yacht out for a pleasure
Captain's
cruise.
yacht. Yeah, Omni Star Fury. Real luxury liner.
And so he gives an override command. Ivanova wants to know what he's doing, and Sheridan says, "Oh, just going out for a little stroll, nothing to worry about." And then gives an override command to force his launch, basically. And Londo is he he's saying, "I don't want to fight you. I don't want to kill you. Do we really have to do this?" And his friend is saying, "In all our duels together, not once did you ever beat me." And Londo, makes a poignant statement about, in all our duels, my life was never on the line. And Sheridan is saying, Garibaldi came out to be the wingman, and Sheridan said, I think I'm going out to give someone a lift. I'm not entirely certain, but I think that you're on the right track, that it has something to do with Sector 14. Yeah, Josh, here's my knives. And they definitely have a very Roman uh, kind of a gladius shape and length to them. It kind of is ambu jitsu, except they're not blindfolded. And it is disappointing that the other guy was unwilling to relinquish the battle. Let me say nice fighting music. I prefer Amok Times. There's a high level of tachyon particles out here, and sensors are going dead. And something came screaming out of his mouth through the time portal. Yeah, I too am surprised, Garibaldi. I mean, I get the feeling it wouldn't be great if Sheridan went through that time portal.
Would he end up with Babylon 4?
Or would he go through that rapid aging?
Maybe.
Garibaldi says, oh, I'm going to leave you home next time.
This episode moves along at a really good pace.
And thankfully, Garibaldi's able to catch hold of the captain before he goes into the portal, whatever it is. And I think I saw Sheridan's ship's thrusters firing as well. So I wonder if it's specifically designed such that whenever he links there, it links their engines together. And it's
Kind of
rough to
looks
see
like
the
it,
old men
Josh.
fight. Did the portal get bigger? I thought it was closing down. And it looked like Londo was gonna die, but the friend took a moment to showboat, unfortunately, and held his sword up high too long. And so the friend says the reason I made you do this is because now I die uh, with my honor, and My family's protected. I alone am going to be the one targeted by the resolution, and I know that you'll take care of my family. And so that's kind of, I think that's why he showboated there at the end. He was deliberately giving Londo the chance.
I think so.
So Sheridan is explained that the creature that was in his head somehow was able to come through the portal in sector 14. Maybe back when Babylon 4 was there? But it was so alien and so foreign that it was unable to actually communicate. And so it had to bring up memories of whatever person it was inside of to try and convey what it was thinking or feeling at that moment. And yeah, Omni, he borrowed the space sweater from Wesley Crusher.
Wrong century, Omni.
And Franklin was, excuse me. Franklin was very excited about the nature of an alien so different from us that we can't inherently communicate. Is actually a very old sci-fi question of what would you do if you did encounter an alien species that was so different there was zero chance you could ever communicate? Like, how would that work? And typically the conclusion is that if you truly could not communicate with another species, like let's say they communicated through pheromones, or they were a 100% telepathic race, and we couldn't, like, our brains couldn't receive their telepathic signals and they couldn't hear our signals, such there's no communication possible whatsoever. uh, the end result would be war, is what most sci-fi writers come down to.
Londo seems to be starting to regret some of the choices he's made.
And Veer, he's trying to get Londo to come out of this, say, it's never too late to start making new choices. Uh, but instead, Londo seems almost resigned to what he's doing. That it's too late to get off this path. But then he says something and ends it with "if I can." What was if he can what?
Sorry, I was listening to you.
I think he was like, even though he was saying, like, somewhat resigning himself to the path he's on, it was almost as if he was making a comment of trying to stem the tide a little bit if he can. Oh, he wants it to sleep if he can. So no, it was just a negative all the way down. Well, all right.
Thank you, Texas.
Jeff, thoughts about this episode?
It was a good story. It moved
Hello
along
there.
really, really well. I heard
Thank
something.
you, Cannibal the Dragon. Welcome. If you're actually here and not on like some other video and decide to subscribe.
Welcome. So, yeah, this was a good story. It moved along at a really good pace. I think it was well directed. It was good acting. I'm not sure if the story itself adds much to the overall arc, that we're on. It adds to it a little bit, but I don't know if anything really consequential comes from this, other than maybe Londo is going to start questioning what he's doing. He seems to be a little bit. And does this cause friction between him and Lord Reefer, or Rifa, depending on how you pronounce it? Because they had that dialogue over the interstellar comm, and Rifa was not very happy that Londo was asking him to do these things. There was some conflict between the two. So what's going to happen in the future between the two? As far as the Sheridan storyline, I'm surprised Sheridan didn't already know what happened with Babylon 4, that he had to get caught up with that. And I don't know if this is really going to affect him in any big way after this story. I think that was kind of a one and done type of thing for him. No consequences. Maybe it brought up thoughts of his deceased wife a little bit more that we saw in the prior episode last week, 2 weeks ago. But overall, this episode just doesn't seem to add a whole lot to the overall ongoing story, in my opinion. What did you think, Matthew?
I enjoyed it. I was wrong. I was wrong in my guess.
Yeah, Josh was just asking about that.
Yeah, I did have big hopes that when I saw Garibaldi at that first scene and they're at the baseball field, I'm like, oh, wow, I may have nailed this. It may have actually be a Garibaldi episode. But no, I was all the wrong, which is fine.
Fool's gold.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So despite being wrong, what I would describe as kind of the A plot, the one first introduced of Sheridan and the creature that's just trying to get back home. And did it show up during Babylon 4? Is there just kind of this rift in space in general right now in Sector 14? Not sure yet where that's going. But that plot line, I feel like is just kind of there.
You think that was the A plot?
It was the first plot.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
It was the episode name is Knives, which ties in more with the Londo plot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So I guess Londo is more the A plot. So the B plot, it was just kind of there. And if it was that this episode was supposed to air prior to last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, then that plot line, while not like doing a lot in this episode, would have been very integral to why we're now looking at the Icarus in the following episode. So it wouldn't necessarily be overly strong in this point. It would just be kind of laying down the groundwork for why is Sheridan finally looking at all the logs his dead wife sent. And okay, now it actually kind of makes sense that Garibaldi makes the Moraine connection. Morano, Rod Sterling.
Oh,
I tried.
Mr. Morden.
So it would have made more sense like that. Since they didn't order it that way.
Moraine.
Yeah, Lemon Moraine over there. No.
I already Moraine, have count to 4.
No, so because it wasn't ordered that way, it kind of just dangles out in the wind on this episode. The main plot line, though, I think was extremely important. Like, even though we didn't totally get a lot with it in this episode, like there wasn't huge revelations. It wasn't a massive plot going on, but I feel like Londo's getting to see more and more of what his actions are doing. So it's not just like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, it's annoying to me that all of a sudden I have friends everywhere, and yet none of them are true friends. Like, like he was telling to Garibaldi or Veer, that all of a sudden everyone wants to be my friend. A month ago, no one would have anything to do with me, and now everyone wants to be my friend. Uh, so that's annoying to him. But in this episode, he really got to see that the people he's sided with are being detrimental to his own people, and not just his people in a
His
general way. Which he learned that right away. Like, as soon as he sided with this guy, the emperor died, and then they assassinated some key advisor of the old emperor,
prime minister.
the prime minister. Yeah, and Londo was upset by that, but not overly upset. Like, it didn't make him lose too much sleep. Whereas today, he got to see that his actions of siding with these people didn't just kill off a prime minister. It's it's turning into a dictatorship, basically, where you
Oh,
stand against the emperor in any way. Like, hey, I disagree with what you're doing, and all of a sudden, well, we're going to disgrace your family, and we're going to make it impossible for you to live. Have fun with that.
I hesitate to point this out, but I think I'll go ahead and do it. Londo at this point does not know who killed the prime minister.
Okay, yeah. Now he did get. Maybe you can remember the comment better for me, but Lord Rifa made some comment, and Londo's response was, "Wait, I didn't think any of our people would be hurt." Or something
I
along those
don't
lines.
recall that. I don't recall that.
I'll have to look again, and I'll drop it in the Babylon 5 channel over on Discord if I can
Okay.
find the exact line. But yeah, Londo wasn't on board with killing him. Rifa made a comment afterwards, and I want to say that Londo's response was, "Wait, I didn't think any of our people would be hurt." And Rifa made some dismissal comment about it. And I feel like today Londo is getting to see really the consequences of his actions. Like, he's had a couple moments where he's like, yeah, things aren't the best. But to have such a close friend and someone that he truly deeply admired, uh, one, being affected by this, and then two, Jeff, like you were saying, the phone call he had with Lord Arifa, at the end of the phone call, when he stood up so strongly for him, uh, and it seemed like Rifa said that he'd back down. Uh, okay, Casey's saying the line was, "With the unfortunate death of the prime minister, there's a power vacuum." I want to say
Okay.
that
I
Londo's
I can.
response to that was, "I didn't think any of our people would be hurt." I'll look up the follow up quote.
Okay.
Um.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah, the long and short is Londo's saying the people he cares are being hurt, and he's seeing that Rifa is not quite the ally that he thought he would be. That the whole conversation, the fact that he had to make this big, like, I stood up for you and blah 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 blah, like, he was very offended that Rifa, like, he started off the phone call like, "Oh hey, we're buddy buddy, we're gonna do this for each other because we're in this together through thick and thin, buddy buddy." And the fact that Rifa was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that." No. And it was only when Londo uh, really threatened and pulled out his kind of ace up the sleeve there, that Rifa was willing to back down. Okay, I think that
Actually,
really.
go ahead.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
I was just thinking. I think that kind of opened up Londo's eyes.
Actually, it's Urza Jado that tells them that they killed the prime minister. Up to that point, Londo thought that the prime minister had taken his own life.
Oh, okay.
So I looked that up.
Um, and then also I need to rewatch that scene at the Centauri restaurant, But there's a comment that Lando's friend made that almost made it sound like Rifa had been lying to Londo. That Rifa had made some comment about like, okay, fine, I won't press the issue, and then the friend was like, no, he's still pushing forward with it. So I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I feel like that also was like
Uh,
Londo realized that, hey, I thought this was taken care of, and now I found out that he was just lying to me to get me to back down.
well, Rifa was the one that brought it to the attention of the Centauri government,
Hmm.
essentially. He was the one that pushed for this. So why would he suddenly just back away from it?
Mm-hmm. And I love that we're getting to
Scenes from
continue to see Veer be kind of like the good angel on Londo's
yes.
shoulder.
Well, he has a good heart.
He really like Veer is perhaps at this point in time one of the most important people in the universe when you stop to think about it.
He's Londo's conscience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like just think about it, Londo is literally making a deal with the devil, and Veer is pushing Londo away from that as much as he can. Like if it weren't for Veer, if there was some other attaché who was just like, "Oh yeah, like go for it, do all this stuff," um, Londo would go much deeper into this. It like literally, Veer is one of the most important people in the universe against these shadow creatures. Yeah, okay, the Veer Wade.
The, to Mr. Morden, cheap Rod Sterling.
Yeah.
There was a comment, I forget who made it back in the chat a little bit ago, saying that this particular episode was effects heavy, where the last one was not. And because it took them forever to do effects on the computer, it took them longer to do
Oh.
this one. And they pushed this one after the last one, even though they were supposed to be swapped.
Hmm.
So in a way, yeah, it kind of makes sense to watch this one first, but in airing order, it came after the last one.
And we're gonna stick to airing order. And then someday when I get to rewatch this, I'll go, you know what? I'm gonna watch this in reverse.
Well,
And
you know, there's like 5 or 6 different lists out there on which order you should be watching all these episodes and movies. And that Amiga video toaster was toasty, it says on me. Indeed.
so great episode. I feel like they did a good job keeping you engaged. And I feel like even though there wasn't huge ramifications, the illumination that Londo is getting right now is extremely important to his character. And so it was a very character development heavy episode, and I enjoyed it greatly.
It had great pace. Scene. I when I watched it earlier today, I went, that was 40 some minutes. What? It seems like 20.
Yeah.
It just flew. It just flew by. It was very well paced.
And yes, Thomas, I'll swap the order of last week and this week. TKO
We
had
also
better pacing though.
no,
That's
no, Omni, no.
that's one possibility. Sure, it hit harder. I'll gr- I'll grant you that there were
Possibly,
harder hits.
yes. We also heard Adira Tyree in this episode. Her name,
Ira
the
Tyree.
dancer, the
Oh,
dancer that Londo was having a relationship with in season 1. So we got her name again. This is the last episode written by someone other than J. Michael Straczynski up until episode 8 of season 5. So from here
ooh,
on out until that point, it's all JMS.
that's intense.
That
Well
is
done,
intense.
JMS. Because I know you're
So.
totally here for these streams, and I just have to say, well done, well done.
Indeed.
Well,
No,
guys, let me go
it was
ahead
good.
and make a prediction for next week and then get me off to bed here. Next week is going to be episode 18 of season 2. This is Confessions and Lamentations. Ooh. Okay, so that name alone screams that it's going to be a Jakar episode to me. Jakar has proven himself to be the religious person in this series. And with this episode being such a Londo-centric one, it kind of makes sense that we might see Jakar next week. Who would be doing the confessions? I feel like Jakar is going to be the one doing lamenting. And we've really set him up this season for the pain and struggle that he's gone through as an ambassador. And he's been doing a phenomenal job acting that out. And so I think confession-wise, let's say that a friend of Jakar's in the I've forgotten their species name. I'm blanking here. Narn, thank you. And the Narn government comes and visits him and makes a confession about how the war effort is going. And the answer is horribly. And this brings Jakar great lamentations. And in fact, I'll go even further to say that the Narn are on the point of having to surrender to the Centauri. And Jakar is going to have to figure out how to resolve this situation such that they're not forced back under Centauri enslavement. And then Kiefer saves the day. So, there we go.
And Kiefer saves the day. Okay.
That's how I'm going to end all my predictions until he shows back up. And Kiefer saves the day.
Okay. That's what you want to do.
Go for that long shot. One of these days I'm going to hit jackpot and Kiefer's going to save the day.
Well, I look forward to this episode. We'll see how close you get with this prediction.
Yeah, and I think I should be. We'll be good to go. I think for the foreseeable future here.
Okay.
The role I'm in now, it is remote support, so I shouldn't be having to leave the Metroplex area, I hope. And yeah, I'm just settling into a good pace at work. I think we'll be good, guys. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Good.
And we look forward to seeing you next week at our hour of scampering, 9 p.m., as we watch Confessions and Lamentations.
Sounds good. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See ya. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.